Hello, and welcome to Post Walk Weekly with Amma. Whatever week it is day 207, excuse me, of Putin's criminal war in Ukraine. And sadly, the criminality becomes apparent every time Ukraine takes back territory. And President Zelensky went to Izium, 14 kilometers or something from the border of the conflict. And we are learning, not of course, but tragically, that more war crimes were committed there. And I'd love to lift this conversation somewhat higher, and I'll give, sadly, two disparate positions, things that are happening at the same time as this war. I saw a recap of a previous President Trump rally in Ohio, and it's the most alarming thing I think I've seen in my life, as in current. The way that it reverberates in your brain is literally Hitler, and the youth and the meetings and the there are enormous numbers of Americans that are basically brainwashed by this man, and it's terrifying. I think it's important to see and understand this, not ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist, because it's there. It's real, and it's terrifying. If you want a nice encapsulation of his most recent rally in Youngstown, Ohio, yesterday, Midas Touch, one of the brothers, Midas Touch, does a beautiful 20-minute video where he excerpts parts of it and lets you in on what's happening there. You don't have to watch the whole thing. I really recommend people do this because it's terrifying, and we ignore it at our peril and the peril of the world. On the opposite end of that, I saw a beautiful interview. A man from the Kiev Post interviewed Garry Kasparov, and many people know he was world chess champion for I don't know how many years. He has been an outspoken critic of Putin and been pretty amazing, and every time I hear him, he's insightful because he understands the Russian psyche, the Putin mentality. He cares. And watching that interview, it's also on YouTube, with the Kiev Post, Garry, it's 2 R's, Garry Kasparov. He had created an organization opposing Putin decades, in like 2005, and I'm not sure if it's the same organization that he's motivating right now, but like especially Russians outside of Russia who are a little safer protesting. He ends though beautifully with how significant what the Ukrainians are doing is. They're fighting for their homeland and their lives. They are the entire free world's front line, and we owe them an enormous debt. He says it very beautifully, and so enough from me. those are two YouTube videos I would send you to. And thank heavens nothing came of the car accident. When Zelensky returned home after visiting Izium, two Russians, however, fell out of windows this past week. And sometimes I wonder if that could have anything to do with the top secret documents at Mar-a-Lago that we don't know who was able to view or copy. We understand, we're used to Russians falling out of windows. It just, this time I'm wondering what Trump is providing Putin, because he always owed Putin. I'm sorry. Enough of that. Be well. Have a good week. I'll see you next week. I've been Amma.